Community Fathers program has grown a
Yes,
lot in
yes.
30 years. So it started out as a support group.
Right.
But now you're doing all kinds of job training too. And
Yes.
aren't you doing some work in the high school with young
Yes,
people?
we have a Fathers High School, Fathers program in Schenectady High School.
What are you doing? Tell us about that.
And so what that is, we started dealing with it because we have so many young fathers. Schenectady in particular supposedly has the highest rate of adolescent pregnancy in the state. So therefore, such a small city, you wouldn't have been thinking that. But that's the reality. So we have all of these young fathers that are winding up in high school, starting actually in middle school, okay? So we may have a father who's 18 years old and has a child 2 years old, okay? Or some are younger. Our fathers run from 14 and up. So what happened was we realized that we needed a particular program for the young fathers. So we started a Young Fathers Home Visitation Program. And that is a program where we're dealing with fathers who are younger directly. They have different issues than fathers who may show up at our regular support group that have maturity jobs and dealing with kids from all ages and teenagers and grown. Or
Because
that's been
these young
absent.
kids are still kids themselves.
They're still kids themselves, and the other fact is they have no control over their own families
Yeah.
that they have developed. Okay, so they may have a problem getting visitation rights because the significant others or the mother of the child, her parents may not like him, or her mother doesn't like him,
Yep.
or whatever. There's problem between the brothers and this particular gentleman and stuff. So we found that out. But I'm glad you allowed me to talk about this because
You can talk about anything you want to talk about,
well,
Walter.
but this is a wonderful thing
I love
because
this program, though.
there is something that is going on. When the Bridges Out of Poverty did a youth conference about a year ago, the woman Ruby Payne, who developed this, I think she's Dr. Ruby Payne now, who developed the Bridges Out of Poverty program. She was she was talking at the conference, and she hit on something that I think a lot of people have went over their heads. And she talked about the fact that now they are discovering there's a need for research in the early puberty. We are right now dealing with 21st century children that are going into puberty earlier than any children have ever gone on the planet before.
You've talked about this with me
Oh,
before.
yes. But again, too, a lot of times the issue gets spoken of and then it goes nowhere. So you got to keep ringing the bell because people will go back to the old agenda and act like we're somewhere else. And because of that, it is creating a massive problem in high school graduation and in discipline problems. Because discipline is being treated as instead of early puberty problem. So what happens is that a young man in a class starts acting out or talking back to the teacher, right away it's being defined as something of a discipline problem. Now, when the administration calls the mother, she'll say, yeah, he's getting out of hand, he's not respecting me, and all of a sudden it's a discipline. Or either they try to think he needs some kind of therapeutic help.
Yep. Mental health.
Right. So
all these
everybody,
kids
all the
have
services,
yep.
all the services.
Bipolar
okay?
disorder.
Right,
Yeah.
right. When the fact is that young man is going through puberty and his body is doing things that his mind does not know how to control. And nobody is talking to him about the issue that's going down within him. But they're labeling it something's wrong. So to him, what becomes wrong is who he is
He's wrong.
and his sexuality. So everything is wrong for him. So therefore, then he becomes rebellious. So what we have to do is,
And then he gets suspended from school.
of course,
And then we start the pipeline to incarceration.
right, of course, because when you start to look at all of these young fathers who are out here who can't get employment because they don't have skills or education, and then what happens is they are trying to find something to not be the deadbeat dad that everybody labeled.
Yeah.
So where does a community kid go when he needs money to be able to provide at least diapers to that guy on the corner that's telling him, hey, look, I can help you make some money. And the next thing you know,
You're dealing drugs.
right. But again, too, the pride that he has gotten in that little bit of time that he's out, that he's been able to provide something for his child. Well, he's sitting in jail, at least he feels he did something right as a father. That's again why we have the fathers in jail.
I just wanted,
Right,
I was
right.
like, I gotta get you to talk about that.
Right. That's
Talk
why we
about
have
what you're doing in the fathers in the jail.
Yes, we have a fathers program in the county jail.
Because I was so glad I recently got
Yes.
a referral. And when they told me that the person was working with you, I said, well, why do I need to open this
Hey,
referral? Keep them working with the community
Well,
fathers.
See, and this is why we go into the jail and we work
so
with them.
glad you're at the jail.
So we have a support group for fathers in the jail. And then what happens is we get to go in and work with some of these fathers individually and to be able to talk to them about the after plan, the release plan. Where are you going? What are you going to do? What is it going to take? And I'll tell you, I was talking to one young guy, that's probably the same gentleman that we were talking about before, but he was telling me that he wanted to finish up whatever term he had in the jail, and he was willing to go get a job, even if it's at McDonald's. So my question to him was, how are you going to support yourself and your child? Because the mother is starting to be deemed not fit to have full custody of this child, so it would fall on him. How are you going to find affordable housing and make an affordable living to take care of this child? What is it that you have to be able to do that now? Well, I can go to McDonald's and I can work. I said, McDonald's will not provide the money that you need. What it costs to raise a child today is staggering. And you need something that's going to help you. So we need to find an alternative so that you can be able to learn something, and mind you, at the same time, maybe get a GED, so that this way you can get something and a training program where you get a stipend to learn something, so that this way, when that's over, you at least have your GED, you're getting money while you're doing this, and then you're able to go into a job and do something right.